I served 2 terms in the House of Representatives. I was elected and started my campaign here in Duncan. 4th of July parade and made the announcement, and so this is kind of coming home for me. With the reapportionment, the districts were changed, so I lost Graham and Greenland County. Again, with the reapportionment, I've got you back. So starting in January, it'll be District 14. It was supposed to be 1, but Prescott and Yavapai County has always been 1. So they complained to the redistricting committee, and so they gave them 1, and we started with 14. So it goes 14, 2, 3. Anyway, we just finished legislative session, and for the last 2 years, the legislature actually balanced the budget. We didn't raise taxes, we didn't borrow. When I left the House of Representatives in January of 2001, our general fund budget was $5.8 billion. When the former governor left town, our general fund budget was in excess of $11 billion. So that short 6 or 7 years period, the budget almost doubled. And of course, you know what happened to the revenues. Our economy fell apart. And so last year we had $8.6 billion and we spent $8.6 billion. We made some tough decisions. We made some concessions for business. In fact, the Chamber of Commerce, and I have some of these that I can pass out, or maybe you can pass out. This is from the Arizona Chamber of Commerce, and they identify some of the bills that we did pass. And the idea was to entice businesses to expand the existing businesses that we have, and for new businesses to come to Arizona. Businesses in California are leaving California because of their economy, and they're heading to Texas. So we want them to stop in Arizona before they get to Texas. In fact, the Chamber of Commerce says we were so successful that the formula is working with the bills that we passed. We're gaining jobs in Arizona. Chief Executive Magazine just named Arizona top 10 state for business climate. The Kaufman Index of entrepreneurial activity ranked Arizona the most entrepreneurial state in the country. So we are, in fact, Yuma has a manufacturing firm coming in, and I understand there's a technology firm going into Phoenix, building from scratch, building on up. We need those jobs out in rural Arizona. I'm the chair of the Senate Water, Land Use, and Rural Development Committee. Everything works around water and land use. If you don't have water and you're constricted for land use, you lose it all. So I really wanted the Natural Resource Committee because I chaired that when I was in the House, but there was already an existing senator that had that committee. I served on that committee, so they created a new committee for me, and water is the big issue for all of us here in Arizona. The NFIB, because of our bills that we passed, and I put these on different colored papers so I can find them, rather than all white. But the NFIB is the National Federation of Independent Business. These are the people that represent small business. And Arizona 2012 legislature picked up where last year's left off with the most pro-small business legislature in Arizona history, and it identifies some of the bills there. Some of the bills that I personally had a very good year. Natural resources is where I feel the importance is for the whole state, especially those of us that live in rural Arizona. Those of us that have individual wells, and we have a different lifestyle that we love. We don't want to live in high rises in metropolitan areas. So I actually had 26 bills that got through the system for less government, more responsibility. I'll go through a few of them. We have in Arizona less than 13% of land in private hands. And I have maps for you. So what we're passing out is a copy of the state of Arizona. What you see in white is all we have in private property. Everything else is controlled by Forest Service, BLM, state, Indian reservation, or military reservation. So as you see, you have very little private property in Greenlee County. And what we have done is we formed a study committee, interim committee this year, and we're going to study the effects of government-owned and ownership of land. Our Pell payments have decreased. A lot of those payments went to our rural schools that we're seeing not funded anymore. And the second part of that bill will require not an unfunded mandate, because I have a little bit of money attached to the bill, but for our county assessors to identify how much private property is in each county, how much is tax exempt, and how much is actually in conservation. We have quite a bit of property that is in private hands, but it's in land trust, conservation easement, nature conservancy, and such. So this is your private property is your tax base. And I'm finding as I call and visit around the different counties, some of our county supervisors don't actually know what their tax base is and what they can do. So when they raise taxes, it falls on those of you that own private property. So it's something that we need to know. You need to know as an individual, our county representatives and elected officials need to know. We just lost 1,800 acres in Cochise County to the Nature Conservancy, and that's private property. It's down along the river, and so it'll be off the tax rolls. The Farm Bureau, back in 1997, did a study, and they came up with that 13%. And that was flawed. If it didn't take into consideration the roads in our local communities, and if it doesn't fit into any of those 5 categories that I mentioned, then it's thrown in the private category, private ownership category. And the capital complex doesn't fit into any of that. So it's in the private property category. So with this study, and we've given over a year for the counties to help put this together. Some of the smaller counties, like Greenlee County, don't have the manpower to pay an IT person. So there is some money attached that we can help fund those counties that need help. Come up with a figure so that we know what our tax base is. We actually, when the government proposes new rules and regulations, one of my bills says that they need to identify where they get their information so that we can take a look at it and see if it's scientifically based or whether it's emotional based. We don't have any funds attached to this bill, but we actually allowed Apache County, if and when funds are available, to sue the Forest Service for their lack of proper management. We also allowed the Department of Environmental Quality, which is a state agency, to file violation notice on the Forest Service for their pollution. We have had some of the worst fires ever in this state, and actually in the country because of poor management. BLM, we used to say, was bad at lousy management, but it's still lousy management. And I had another resolution sending a message to the federal government that says, don't acquire any more private property. You have too much now and you can't take care of what you have, so stop. My letter to Santa Claus would be for the state to manage our BLM and Forest Service property. We could do it better, faster, more efficient. We could put the cows back on the land and we could actually have a healthy environment rather than seeing it burn. In Cochise County, the fires that occurred in the portal area actually it was started in the same place, and it was started